Hi everyone, and welcome to another book review. This one is for, let me get that pulled up because I can't remember the author. It's Thicker Than Water, and this was a nonfiction read and was an Audible original, so I listened to it via audiobook. Oh, which I do need to write down, but anyway, okay. So Thicker Than Water by Tyler Shultz. So this was interesting. Now it's a short read. This was really interesting. So it's nonfiction. And I'm finding nonfiction I do better with listening to via audiobook. So this was fascinating. I gave this one 5 stars. So this one we're following Tyler Shultz. Tyler Shultz has become known as the whistleblower for the Theranos. Yes, baby. For Theranos. And I know Theranos is fairly recent. I didn't know anything about Theranos. I listened to a little bit of the news, but I don't, there she goes. I don't really delve into it. So I did not know anything about Theranos. It's nothing that was ever talked about by my immediate circle of people that I know. So I really didn't know anything. So this is the first exposure that I have had to Theranos. It was very interesting. So Theranos, from what I gather from this book, is rather than like when you go to the doctor's office and they draw a vial of blood and send it off for testing, and it takes several days, and they're testing for your blood sugar, your thyroid, all of the stuff, whatever they want to test for, how it can take several days. So Theranos was saying, one, they can get the exact same results in this much faster, like pretty much same day, I believe is what it was, and with much less blood. So rather than going to a doctor's office and having a vial of blood or more drawn, they can get the same results with just a drop of blood, with a finger prick of blood. So that's how it was going out. And so Tyler Shultz I can't even remember, but it's like he started to work for Theranos, and I can't really remember and describe how. You'll have to listen to the book. It was really interesting, but he was kind of handed the job to work at Theranos, but he wasn't handed the job. It was a little easier to come by, I guess. I don't know. So Tyler Shultz, as he's working there, he's starting to see how certain things of this project don't quite fit. He's starting to notice some red flags, some of which can be explained away, some of which he takes to the founder. I can't remember her name. I want to say Helen. I'm sure I'm wrong. But anyway, he takes them to her, and she is so prolific and so is able to just, it's like if you have any questions, she can kind of skirt around the issue and get you excited to forget about why you're there and for the big picture, and kind of sweep them out of your mind and send you on your way, and you've forgotten why you were there until you're back in your office and going, oh wait, she never answered the question. So Tyler he remembers that, and then some more red flags start to pop up, and then some more, and it's like they were doing these testings, but the error rate was so high, and then they would do the testing on third-party machines, which is like what the doctor's office actually uses to get more accurate results. And I don't know, things were just really weird and not adding up. And so Tyler Shultz starts to see these. He goes to his grandpa, who's on the board, and those are kind of swept away. His grandpa is like, why are you worried about this? I trust her, the founder, and all of that. And so it follows the process of Tyler, who is known as the whistleblower for Theranos, as he continues to see all these red flags add up, and then he makes his exit because he doesn't want anything else to do with Theranos because it's way too fishy. So he gets another job, he kind of talks to people, and then all of a sudden, lawyers from Theranos are coming after him, and people are like following him, and other people are being followed, and it's very sketchy and scary and stressful and things like that. And so finally things come to light with what's really going on, and then he talks about like the collapse of Theranos, of how things did that. And so he had a major role in the collapse of Theranos. There was a coworker that he had who also talked to some people, and like to the Washington Journal, I believe is what it was. And so you're just seeing all these things, and it was interesting to kind of see that process, because I've heard about whistleblowers before that come to light about people that embezzle money, about companies that are more shady and things like that. But I've never seen anything from their perspective. So this was really interesting. So I don't know. I do highly recommend this. It's a fairly short read. Now, I listened to it at about 1.5 speed, so it was like 3 hours and some odd minutes. So I think regular speed, it's almost 5 hours. So it's not bad as far as the length. And it is very interesting. I did find it extremely interesting. And it is an Audible original, so I don't know if you can get a physical copy of this or not. But the way it kind of wrapped up at the end, I don't think you can. The other thing is that Tyler talked about his life after the collapse of Theranos, and it's like how... And during the collapse too, with how his personality kind of changed, and friends noticed this change in him, but he couldn't talk about things, and how stressed he was. And then after the collapse, how much relief he felt. And he broke up with his girlfriend that he had when everything was hitting the fan. And after, they kind of split amicably, because they realized they weren't, they were good in the short term together, but long term, not so much. And now he has a new girlfriend, and I believe he even mentioned that they are now engaged. So I don't know since this has been released if they're now married or not, but that doesn't matter. But it was just very interesting, and how he realized after everything the dust kind of settled with the collapse, of how he felt so much better and more like himself once everything is said and done. And so it was sad to see all the stress and fear that affected not only him, but his close friends and his family as well. And the strain that put on familial relationships. Very fascinating. Highly recommend it. It was absolutely, I think, well done. And Tyler Shultz himself narrated this. So you do hear directly from his mouth everything. So it's kind of like an interview, but you don't hear any interviewers. He's just talking about his experience. So it was very, very interesting. And I do highly recommend it. And he has a really good voice. So that was also a positive. So that's going to be it for this review. So until next time, stay true to yourself and enjoy a good book. And I'll talk to you later.